Happy Sunday morning. Obviously, there's a lot of news going on. It is not possible to keep up with everything. It's not possible to keep up with everything if you're just trying to read it, let alone if you're like an actual content creator. But one thing that kind of flew under my radar, I just saw a couple of videos from another creator about, was a multi-day long hearing in the Luigi Mangione case. His attorneys, who are some of the best that you can get. They're some of the best criminal defense attorneys that you can get. Filed a lengthy motion with the court to have a lot of the evidence that was collected by police during their investigation thrown out and deemed inadmissible at trial because of how the police went about collecting this evidence. A couple examples. When police got a tip and two or three officers responded to whatever McDonald's it was that Luigi was sitting in the back corner of, when they first approached him, at that point in time, I believe he was just a person of interest kind of thing. I don't think anybody had identified him as the shooter. However, he's just a guy sitting at a table in a McDonald's. Police are interacting with him. He's not posing any immediate threat. There is no evidence that would implicate him in a homicide that is plainly visible to the officers. He's just a guy sitting there wearing a hat and a mask and carrying a backpack. And so they started talking with him. They did not read him his Miranda rights. And one of the officers took his backpack and opened it. There were no exigent circumstances, meaning like there was no bomb threat or anything like that, that would negate the requirement that they get a search warrant because Luigi has rights under the Fourth Amendment. In that backpack that they searched without a warrant and without his permission, they found the gun, they found a silencer, they found his manifesto. And thereafter, they continued to question him without reading him his Miranda rights, and he made statements while he was in custody and had not been Mirandized. This is police officer training 101, man. Because when you violate a defendant's constitutional rights, this blatantly, obviously, and egregiously, the remedy is to throw out the evidence that was collected in those specific interactions. Well, what do you think the prosecution's case is going to look like if they go to trial and they can't use the gun, the silencer, his manifesto, or statements that he made to the police before they read him his Miranda rights? Second is kind of a conflict of interest argument, in that, you know, the guy that was killed was a CEO for United Healthcare. And I think in between the time that Pam Bondi left office as Attorney General for the state of Florida at the end of 2018 until she became U.S. Attorney General in 2025, she was working for a lobbying outfit. And one of the companies that she worked lobbying on behalf of and who her firm represented was United Healthcare. That would be a conflict of interest. She should have recused herself. Third, building on that last point, when Luigi Mangione was arrested, unlike a normal attorney general who would say something like, "We believe we have our suspect in custody," Now we are going to present our case and let the legal system do its job. She declared that he was guilty. She declared unambiguously that he's guilty, and then demanded the death penalty for this case. She is the person who makes the decision as Attorney General of the United States as to whether or not the death penalty will be sought in any given case. And, it's just, I mean, here's the thing. I made a couple TikToks, I'm sure of it. When Pam Bondi was nominated to become Attorney General of the United States, I know for a fact that I made TikToks where I said, unlike a lot of other cabinet nominees that Donald Trump is putting forth, Pam Bondi is qualified to do this job because she had served as Attorney General for the state of Florida for 2 years. She won 2 statewide elections for that position. She knows how to do the job. So she's qualified to do the job. But the difference being is that immediately upon becoming Attorney General of the United States, having been nominated to that position by Donald Trump, is that she swapped out all of her competence and qualifications for fealty to Donald Trump and whatever Donald Trump wants. Same thing with Judge Boxawine, Jeanine Pirro, Todd Blanche. It's and we get the end result being like Judge Jeanine Boxawine and Pam Bondi are finding it nearly impossible to get indictments from grand juries or convictions from trial juries. And the fact that the police officers in this case exhibited a similar level of incompetence that is almost incomprehensible. I mean, what I'm saying is, it's like, I haven't spent a whole lot of time with this story. I'm going to dive into this and find out exactly what happened during this 9-day hearing. I want to read some of the pleadings. But it seems like there's a decent chance in this case that the prosecution is not going to be able to use the gun, the silencer, manifesto, or any number of statements that Luigi Mangione made to police officers before he was properly Mirandized and had secured defense counsel. And if that happens, if those items are thrown out, it will be nearly impossible. It will be nearly impossible for prosecutors to get a conviction in this case. And the chances of him being acquitted are seemingly increasing by the day, which is stunning to me. And it is just another of an endless number of examples of the importance of hiring people because they're competent, not because they're loyal. It's just mind-blowing to me.